In our new economy, there is no shortage of new wealth, but wages are not keeping pace. Workers are more vulnerable to job loss and more worried about retirement. Those Americans fortunate enough to have health care are paying more for it. Health care premiums have risen nearly 90% in the last 6 years. Americans are facing deeper personal debt, from filling up the gas tank to paying for college education. Everything seems to cost more. And this is not just happening by chance. It's not just something we can chalk up to temporary shocks. It's happening in part because of the choices we are making and the way we are making those choices. It's happening because we've gone too far from being a country where we're all in this together to a country where everyone is on their own. We've got a shift in our tax values that disproportionately benefits the wealthiest Americans. Corporate carve-outs that serve no national purpose. Tax breaks that allow companies to stash their profits overseas. A government that's paralyzed when dealing with offshore tax haven countries. An overloaded tax code that's too complicated for ordinary folks to understand, but just complicated enough to work for someone who knows how to work the system. When big business doesn't like something in the tax code, they can hire a lobbyist to get it changed. But most working people can't afford a high-priced lobbyist. Instead of honoring that core American value, opportunity for all, we've had a system in Washington where our laws and regulations have carved out opportunities for the few. Now, the numbers don't lie. At a time when income inequality is growing sharper, the Bush tax cuts gave the wealthiest 1% of Americans a tax cut that was twice as large as the middle class. At a time when Americans are working harder than ever, we are taxing income from work at nearly twice the levels that we're taxing gains for investors. If you talk about this in polite society, sooner or later you'll get accused of waging class warfare, as if it's distasteful to point out that some CEOs made more in 10 minutes than a worker makes in 10 months. Or, as my friend Warren Buffett put it to me, if there's class warfare going on in America, then my class is winning. Now, what Warren Buffett knows is what all Americans have to remember. To get through these uncertain times, we have to recognize that we all have a stake in one another's success. When folks are hurting out there on Main Street, it's not good for Wall Street. When the changes in our economy are leaving too many people behind, the competitiveness of our country risks falling behind. When that dream of opportunity is denied to too many Americans, then ultimately that pain has a way of trickling up. You know, the truth is, most Americans aren't asking for a lot. They don't need overseas tax shelters. They don't need a long list of loopholes. All they want is a fair shake. And they could stand a break. Because most Americans have simple dreams. A job, a place to raise their families, a secure retirement, a chance to create opportunities for their kids that might extend a little further than their own. After all, the wealth of a nation is rooted in the work of our people. In his first State of the Union message to Congress, Abraham Lincoln laid out a core principle. And I quote, "Capital is only the fruit of labor and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is the superior of capital and deserves much the higher consideration." It's a simple proposition that the wealth we earn comes from the work that we do. It's a proposition that is lived day in and day out in the homes of millions of working Americans. The steady pursuit of simple dreams. The American economy is the tally of all those dreams. Now, at a time of rising costs and rising uncertainty, it's time for policies from Washington that put a little wind at the backs of the American people. Now's the time for us to come together as a nation behind a new compact for the 21st century, one that gives the American people a lift so that they can lift up this country anew. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.